Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're tearing into a startling investigative report that exposes a massive covert operation happening right at the intersection of Silicon Valley and the printed word. We're looking at a secretive internal tech initiative codenamed Project Panama, and it reveals a systemic physical data extraction pipeline that is quietly reshaping the entire future of human knowledge.
It's the million-dollar question we're answering today. Why on earth is big tech secretly buying and shredding millions of physical books? Right? At first glance, it sounds completely backward. In an era where literally everything is digital, cloud-based, and virtual, why would the most advanced artificial intelligence companies on the planet spend vast amounts of time and resources physically destroying paperbacks and hardcovers? It's a multi-billion-dollar legal pivot, a massive regulatory vacuum, and a desperate race for a very specific, rapidly depleting resource.
Okay, let's dive into this. According to the investigative report, the AI developer Anthropic PBC didn't just accidentally toss out a few old books. They built a deliberate industrial-scale pipeline. Step 1, massive bulk procurement of secondhand books through liquidators. Step 2, they literally slice the spines off these physical books using heavy-duty hydraulic cutters. Step 3, they feed those loose, unbound pages through high-speed industrial digital scanners. And finally, step 4, and this is the wild part, honestly, the physical dumped right into a landfill or sent to a cycling. It is a highly visceral, highly mechanical, four-step destruction process, turning classic literature into pure data. And we're not talking about a small pilot program here. Under this single initiative alone, up to 2 million physical books were purchased and destroyed. 2 million. That is a staggering scale of physical destruction orchestrated entirely to feed a digital system. But tech companies don't usually deal in messy physical logistics, unless they absolutely have to, right? So what forced their hand? Well, that brings us to Bartz versus Anthropic PBC, a landmark lawsuit that resulted in a record $1.5 billion settlement. See, before Project Panama, AI companies were simply downloading millions of pirated ebooks from shadow libraries like LibGen, which are essentially massive illegal databases of pirated books. It was easy, fast, and digital, but it also opened them up to massive legal exposure for copyright infringement. That multi-billion-dollar threat forced a hard pivot. They realized they couldn't just steal digital files anymore without facing ruinous lawsuits. They needed a totally new procurement strategy, one that exploited a very specific legal gray area.
Which brings us to Section 2, the fair use loophole.
So the crucial point here is this bizarre legal arbitrage. The U.S. District Court essentially validated a massive loophole by legally purchasing a physical secondhand book, scanning it, and then explicitly destroying the physical original. The company satisfies the legal principle that one copy simply replaced the other. Because the physical book no longer exists, the newly created digital scan is treated under fair use. It's basically the ultimate loophole. If you burn the evidence, the digital ghost you created suddenly becomes perfectly legal. It bypasses copyright infringement completely, and, more importantly for the tech giants, it completely bypasses the need to pay any ongoing royalties or licensing fees to the original authors. Just notice the stark contrast here. Historically, as a society, we've always revered books. Traditional libraries operate on a model of preservation, protecting and archiving unique physical records for future generations. But the AI procurement model we see in Project Panama treats physical literature entirely differently. It treats it strictly as a consumable fuel source. The book is not something to be saved, it is just something to be burned through the engine to extract its data, with the physical shell discarded into the landfill. But why go to all this trouble for used books? Let's look at Section 3, the pre-2022 scarcity crisis. And this brilliantly illustrates why pre-2022 books matter so critically right now. If you've noticed the internet feeling a bit repetitive lately, this is exactly why. The date a book was published suddenly matters more than anything else. Post-2022, the web became completely flooded with what researchers call synthetic AI slop, just endless reams of text generated by models like ChatGPT. If you train a new AI on the internet today, you are largely just training it on other AI's outputs. To get around this, tech companies desperately need pre-2022 pristine human text. Books printed before the AI boom are guaranteed to be 100% human-generated thought, completely untouched by algorithms. Which leads to this stark observation from the report. By physically hoovering up pre-2022 books to prevent model collapse, AI labs create an artificial monopoly over uncorrupted human language. Model collapse is what happens when an AI trains on too much synthetic data. It literally gets dumber, its outputs degrade, and its logic completely falls apart. To prevent this, older physical books have suddenly transitioned from dusty shelf fillers into the ultimate high-value scarce resource. By shredding and digitizing them, AI labs are essentially cornering the market on pristine human thought. Because of this, pre-2022 books aren't just reading material anymore. They are quite literally the only antidote to an AI echo chamber. This profound shift leads us directly into Section 4, disintermediating the creative class. Let's look at the actual economic reality of this extraction pipeline. First, tech firms exclusively use secondary vendors like used book liquidators to buy up the physical stock. Because of this, absolutely zero royalties go to the original publishers or authors. The creators get no financial compensation for this bulk extraction. And second, we have this profound economic paradox. The intense intellectual labor of human authors is being physically consumed for the express purpose of building commercial software that is designed to automate and ultimately displace human writing altogether. Let that sink in for a second. This results in what the report calls the industrial enclosure of knowledge. We are actively watching the public record be quietly privatized. Think about what this actually means for you. Once that physical book is scanned and its paper shredded, its contents no longer sit on a public library shelf where anyone can access it for free. Instead, human-generated thought is permanently converted into proprietary corporate neural network parameters locked away behind paywalled corporate APIs in Silicon Valley. The real-world artifact is erased, and the digital ghost is entirely corporatized. So where does this unprecedented data extraction pipeline take us? Let's move to Section 5, the future of human thought. Let's move to and see how this builds out over time. In the short term, the next 1 to 2 years, the structural risk is replication. Since the courts basically greenlit this destructive scanning under fair use, competing AI firms are absolutely going to scale their own industrial shredding operations to bypass digital licensing costs. In the midterm, 3 to 5 years out, we hit secondary market depletion. Mass bulk purchasing strips the physical used book markets bare, driving up prices for actual human readers, independent libraries, and archives. And in the long term, 5 to 10 years out, we face total epistemic monopolization. Wholly human pre-2022 physical texts become extremely rare commodities, controlled almost entirely as digitized training weights by a handful of tech monopolies. All of this points to a very sobering reality outlined in the report's conclusion. The primary bottleneck for artificial intelligence is not compute or capital, but pristine human thought. For all the talk of advanced algorithms and multi-billion-dollar data centers, the entire machine still relies fundamentally on strip mining the physical humanities. The human creators and the historical physical record they left behind are the essential, finite fuel source keeping the synthetic output going. Which leaves us with a critical, frankly terrifying question to consider as this technology continues to scale. If the physical extraction of pristine human text is the only way to keep these models from collapsing, what happens next when the pre-2022 supply finally runs out and all those physical books are fully scanned and shredded? Who controls the human record? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope this helps shed some light on the incredible, unseen infrastructure powering our digital world.